Don Mazziotti has a big stake in the future of downtown Portland. He's a former head of the Portland Development Commission before it was renamed Prosper Portland. He's also a former community development director for the city of Beaverton, a senior development vice president for Schnitzer, and spent 5 years working on the street for the nonprofit Harbor of Hope, which serves the homeless. Currently, he's on the Oregon Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission. Don Mazziotti, thanks for joining me on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Good to see you, Ken.
Let's talk about downtown Portland first. When you look at downtown Portland now, what do you see?
Well, what I see is a city that's been hit by a perfect storm. Whether it's homelessness, the pandemic, or any of a number of other issues that have hit downtown in terms of participation by shoppers, which is down dramatically. It's a perfect storm for downtown Portland. And from my standpoint, there is one key to the whole thing, which is public safety. The fear of going downtown, being comfortable with downtown, existing in the downtown area, all relates to public safety and how people feel about being in the center city.
Yeah, definitely perception has a lot to do with it as well. And some of that is based on facts. Several studies have concluded that Portland is one of the slowest cities in the nation to recover from the pandemic. One study says we've only recovered 37% of Portland's activity since 2019. And that's on the low end, of course. There are other studies that show us looking a little better. Why do you think our recovery is so slow? And you talked a little bit about that, the perception of crime. But what can we do about it?
Well, I think a lot can be done about it. First, we've got to tackle, as I've mentioned, the public safety issue. Then we obviously have a major problem with houselessness, which is being addressed, however slowly. That needs to be dealt with. We have a very serious drug problem, both in Oregon and in Portland. It's a poison pill for purposes of living and livability in downtown or any other part of the city. And then we've got a severe shortage of affordable housing. We need about 42,000 units just in the city of Portland to make up for demand. And it's not there, but we need to mobilize in all those points. And if we do it successfully, downtown will come back strong.
Yeah, we've seen another prominent brand say they're leaving Portland, the downtown area. That's outdoor gear store REI. We've already heard a similar thing from Columbia Sportswear's Sorel division.
Right.
Both have cited crime on the streets, theft and vandalism as part of the reason. And you've talked about that right here, right now. Can we reverse this trend? Can we reverse it?
Well, I think we can start, certainly, by doubling the number of officers we have on the street. We have about 300 patrolmen right now. I'd like to see that at 600 citywide, and with a substantial deployment that can fight the vandalism which persists in downtown Portland. And in fact, REI, which is a famous brand in the Northwest for sports equipment, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine. We've got to look at this very carefully because sports apparel, sporting is a key piece of Portland and our identity, our brand. We cannot lose that brand. And REI leaving is a real difficulty, a mountain to climb, and we need to climb it.
The pandemic changed the downtown Portland dynamic in terms of the economy. More people continue to work remotely. Office vacancies are high right now. Will downtown Portland property owners have to change their strategy, their economic strategy, with their buildings now?
Yeah, I think absolutely there has to be a change. Converting old office buildings that were built for offices, converting those to housing is a real challenge. May not be possible. But I would say that a key to our recovery in downtown, aside from the public safety issue, which is paramount, is to focus on developing more housing in the downtown area, so we put more people on the street and increase public safety simultaneously. And we've got to deal with the drug issue. I don't think houselessness is the biggest problem in Oregon or in Portland. I think drugs are the biggest problem. They infest all parts of our community. Measure 110 has complicated that issue somewhat, although I think cure is underway, hopefully. And the legislature and the governor ought to take a look at the strategic plan developed by the Commission on Alcohol and Drug Policy. Take that strategic plan and implement it. It was developed over the past couple of years by experts in the field, and some attention needs to be paid to the implementation.
Let's look at a positive development that's happening downtown. We've got a new $800 million Ritz-Carlton hotel that's being built on Portland's West End. It's one of the world's top luxury brands. Do you see that as being perhaps a catalyst, especially for that part of downtown and its comeback?
I think it can be a catalyst, but that can't be the only thing. When Howard Bowen put this project together 10 years ago, none of the things that we're talking about today in terms of canary in the coal mine or poison pill from drugs or perfect storm for downtown, those factors did not exist. We were in a bucolic, wonderful urban area that has been hit, as I said, by things like the pandemic and public safety issues simultaneously, and that's had a profound effect. I think it will bring that part of downtown back.
Last thing, you're on the Oregon Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission. I know you're not a spokesperson for the group.
That's right.
But role do they play, especially with you identifying drugs as the number one issue in downtown Portland as opposed to homelessness?
Well, the commission was created as an independent body by the legislature 5, 6, 8 years ago. Has been at work looking at the issues here and come up with a strategic plan as requested by the legislature. Now it stands to be implemented. I think that we've got to keep in mind that Measure 110 decriminalized small amounts of commonly used drugs, including recreational drugs. The problem is it put the cart before the horse. Measure 110 comes up with a solution without fully understanding the nature of the problem and without the infrastructure in place to implement it. Once that problem is straightened out, I think we'll be able to tackle it. I do want to say one other thing about houselessness. We're spending about $1 billion a year just in Multnomah County on homelessness, all costs in. At $1 billion a year, assuming we have 5,000 homeless people, that's $160,000 a person. Maybe we need to examine the allocation of resources to individuals and to the problem in general, because we're spending a huge amount of money on individuals. We may want to take another look at that approach.
Don Mazziotti, thank you for joining me on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you, Ken.